Hello everyone and welcome to this discussion. I'm Francesca Profeta, Research Analyst for Staff and Industry Analysts, and I'm really delighted to be joined by today Caroline Pfeiffer Marinho, Vice President of the World Employment Confederation and Global Business Leader at Right Management. So today we're going to be having a quite short discussion, but very meaningful. The topic is ageless talent, how the staffing industry can lead the workforce revolution. Together we are going to explore the truly multi-generational workforce currently, what it means in today's workforce, how it's evolving, and what research findings we're coming out of with both SIA and WEC research. So definitely looking at the opportunities that lie ahead. So with that, let's start with you, Caroline. So the WEC Social Impact Report this year does focus on the multi-generational workforce. Was there a particular reason that we decided to do this? Is it actually a real big phenomenon? And have we always had different generations that have worked and contributed together?
Yeah, good question, Francesca, and you're absolutely right. It's not new to have different generations working together. What is new, though, is the complexity we are seeing today in managing and integrating diversity of age, experience, and expectations of those different generations in the workplace. There are a few major trends also converging at once. We are witnessing significant demographic shifts with people living and working longer. At the same time, the digital and AI revolutions are fundamentally reshaping jobs and skills needs faster than ever before. And just add to that a persistent global skills shortage and an increasing volatile economic environment. And you have a labor market that's far more dynamic, but also more fragmented. And in this context, WEC actually wanted to shine light on how the staffing industry is not just observing these changes, but actually driving solutions. Our members are actually are helping organizations to turn the challenge of managing a multi-generational workforce into an opportunity and one that can boost productivity, innovation, inclusion. So we felt it is actually time to reframe the conversation from the generational divide to intergenerational strengths, actually. So this is where we are coming from.
Yeah, absolutely love that, strengthening that workforce there. Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. It's not nothing new, but managing it has become far more complex. Change has really accelerated, and there are definitely more considerations. We do see some stats that we've got from our internal staff survey. So when we speak to the workforce of temporary agency staff. And it's very clear, like in the UK internal staff, 3/4 now work really remotely to some degree. 8% are fully remote. So indicating that remote work is a standout for internal staff, and North America is really similar as well. So I think what we're then looking at, this change has developed over quite some time. So when we looked at 2018, only 21% worked remotely, and now up to that 77%. So there are definitely significant changes, although fully remote has seen a decline. So it's hybrid rather than remote is probably the new normal, I would say. And also internal staff expectations have changed. So candidate expectations have also changed. So we've seen a little bit of a flexibility mismatch. So what's interesting about this, when we look at net promoter scores, people that have personal choice to work a little bit at home, a little bit in the office, their net promoter score is quite high. 94% feels that their job is offering some flexibility. 66% net promoter score, which is fantastic, considering generally that they're not that high. But when we look at mandates, and that's been a big issue, I think, for many people, the net promoter score drops to 32%. So I think sometimes staffing firms missing the point on the whole mandating thing. So that is really interesting.
And we have seen this evolving environment around the employees' needs that are coming up. So does SIA research also confirm those evolving needs on the client side, and what keeps them awake at night these days? Anything you would like to share on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, the client needs are changing fast. We have quite a lot of data from our Workforce Solutions Buyer Survey, which we break out by region. So I'm just going to go into some differentiators for you. One positive is that when we look at the share of contingent labour that's being used by these organisations, it sits at between 20 and 22% regionally, and in Europe it is expected to increase over the next 2 years, so 25% in 2 years' time, and then up to 27%. So that's the positives. There's still going to be this requirement, but we're also seeing evidence that buyers are shifting more into more work based outcomes. So clients are definitely diversifying their programs, from more of a traditional staffing point. When we look at program strategies, for example, we see that statement of work included in the program is by far the most popular, in place today at 71%. And then when we look at likely to be explored in the next 2 years, it's actually 26% as well. So that's a really interesting phenomenon that's coming out. But also they're turning technology to technology, just like everyone else is. They want to improve their efficiencies. They want to incorporate that as well. So we see that sourcing automation has jumped in use this year. More than half of the buyers now have this within their programs. So, when we're looking at this technology, it's things like employee referral platforms or recruitment marketplaces. 56% in Europe, and roughly the same amount in the UK and Americas as well. So this really does mark once again a really steady increase from earlier surveys. So it's reflecting a much more mainstream automated sourcing of candidates as well. So, but it can lead on to other things. I know that AI technology is very new, but it is an expansion stage. So we also do report that 19% of buyers have that within their program too. So yeah, they're definitely evolving. They're taking control of their workforce and the infrastructure that they have in place, the deliverables, and also the technology that they use. So
Yeah,
you asked me about what keeps them up at night. I think there's nothing new. I'll be honest with you, Caroline. Sorry, I missed that last point. But what keeps them up at night when we look at it, it's things like program adoption, cost savings, global rollout. They're the kind of things that come up year in, year out. But what we are seeing is newer items such as candidate fraud and validation, and that could be due to technological advancements. So yeah, those are the things that I think that's concerning them. So obviously staffing firms will have to rise to the occasion. And so it really goes back to what the WEC is seeing with their audience, and how are members putting these into practices to mitigate those.
Absolutely. And if we think about our members, organizations, and how we actually deal with the challenges of a multi-generational workforce and all of the trends that you just mentioned, right? I think this is where the staffing industry is really innovating and really shining. Across our WEC membership organizations, we see developing targeted responses that meet the specific needs of different age groups while fostering collaboration across organizations to actually give a response to those organizational demands. So if you think, for example, of younger workers, it's often about building the foundations, both in terms of skills and confidence. We are seeing academies and training initiatives to help young people acquire essential soft and technical skills, creative digital tools that strengthen their readiness for the first job, and programs that combine career guidance with initial work work experience, right? So that they can bridge the gap between education and employment. If you then go to more the mid-career professionals, the focus is really on flexibility and career support. Many WEC members are helping workers reinvent themselves, so re and upskilling being a core topic within their current careers, offering upskilling opportunities, coaching, new forms of hybrid or project-based work that better align with the different life stages and aspirations. And then if we go to the more mature workers, there are inspiring initiatives that challenge stereotypes and extend employability. Across several countries, you see the HR services industry is collaborating with the public employment services to design tailored pathways for workers that are age 50 and over. And these initiatives, they really focus on reskilling, career transition, and flexible placement models that allow experienced workers to remain active contributors while sharing their knowledge with younger colleagues. So all of these are really examples that show how the staffing industry is, at the end of the day, uniquely positioned to connect talent and opportunity across every generation to those demands of the clients. And our members are proving that age diversity is not a challenge to be managed, but really a competitive advantage to be leveraged in this world that is being transformed by digital and AI, as you mentioned.
Yeah, when we look at that multi-generational landscape, as you pointed out, we noticed something in our surveys that really it was down to the experience that unlocked that flexibility and the addition of training and so on. So it was rather than, instead of characteristics, which we are obviously aware of are very important for certain people for their work arrangements, we found that most segments of remote working jumped significantly from entry level to experience when you've got 10 years plus. So from entry level, 29% maybe would work remotely, but then when they had 10 years plus experience, 92%, especially that was, I think, in the industrial staff. So this sort of does suggest that staffing firms have a more flexible remote policies for probably tenure over anything else. Although we were seeing that younger staff 30 and below are less likely to be fully remote, but they do prefer hybrid models because they still want that balance of learning and connection. So yeah, it is very interesting what organizations are offering and how they're mitigating the different generational opportunities that they face. So yeah, that seems wonderful, and it's very interesting how WEC members are being innovative in this space. So I think what it does, we do get a sense, so there is maybe also a geographical divide. What we see in the UK is flexibility and autonomy matter the most. Those, as I said, who choose to work in the office have a much higher net promoter score versus those who may be mandated or are not offered flexibility. But in North America, when we look at our survey responses there, we see that things such as development opportunities, manager support, and sense of belonging, they drive the most satisfaction and retention, especially when it comes to maybe the more experienced staff. So I think together these findings show that, I suppose, regardless of the age, worker value and choice and growth, there is a massive connection there, and staffing firms are doing all that they can really to align those values to best position and attract that talent, not only for themselves but also for their clients as well. So yeah, that's incredibly useful and very important. So as I said, it is a brief discussion, and there is much more to be had. You're very happy to download the research from the WEC, and obviously get in touch with SIA should be interested in any of the content that we've discussed today. So I think also, really, to wrap up, I think the data points from both WEC and SIA are quite clear. Today's workforce is more multi-generational, more tech-enabled, and more flexible now than ever. The research, as I said, shows that buyers are diversifying solutions, worker values, choice and support, and staffing firms that belong to the WEC Compodium are responding with innovation, and maybe empathy is required as well around what worker requirements. So, as I said, if you'd like to explore some of these findings, please feel free to reach out to either SIA or the WEC. Caroline, thank you so much for sharing these insights, and thank you to you guys for joining us today. All the best.
Thank you.